Um, well, I think this. Look, making the playoffs is a standard, right? That's when you feel like, hey, you've had some success, and then obviously, depending upon how you do in the playoffs, you feel even better. But if you don't make the playoffs, you don't feel successful. And so I think, hey, we don't feel successful, but I do feel like there's some good things that happen, some positive things that happen for our team this year, and things that we can build on.
What are some things you think you need to do to be successful?
Well, look, we've got to improve our team in a lot of areas, depth included. We've got to, we've got to find a way to stay healthier. I think, particularly on some of our key positions on defense, and it's also the learning process and developing players and getting more, improving our roster. Again, particularly on defense, but we've got to get some depth on offense as well. So we've got a lot of things to do. Again, we're going through that evaluation process right now, so I don't have a 1 to 30 list yet, but we will have.
What might go into staying healthy? Is it just a breaks in the game thing, or is there something else to do?
Well, I think it is in large part, luck of the draw, if you will. But we've got to pay attention to it. We've got to say, hey, what were the things that happened? What were the injuries that occurred? Is there a way we can handle it better? That's really what it comes down to. And I don't know if there is, but it's something we need to look at. And we look at it every year, but again, we need to look at it.
How would you evaluate Stephon Anthony for 2 years?
Yeah, again, we're in that process right now, so I don't want to speak about any players specifically. But we'll get to that.
I know you said you don't want to speak on anybody specifically, so I'm sorry to follow up with this. But last year, Drew, you all were negotiating a long-term deal. Do you think you'll do that again this offseason? Do you think you'll just play the final year of this deal and then reassess after the 2017 season?
Well, I think he's already addressed that, hasn't he? So, I don't have anything, Yalfi in that regard. Drew's at that point in his career where, for him, I think it's, hey, how do I feel? He had a great season. He's planning on having another great season, and then we'll go from there.
Why would this year be different than last year? The circumstances are almost identical.
I don't know that it is. I haven't thought about it yet, Mike. But we just finished the season. We're just beginning the process of the upcoming season. So I haven't given that any thought.
Mickey, do you feel like you guys are closer maybe after this 7 and 9 than maybe the last two?
I think there's some positive things, and yes, I guess I would say yes, and yet, man, we're still 7 and 9. We are where we are. Our record is 7 and 9, and so it's not good enough to make the playoffs, and we've got to find a way to improve, and we will. So I don't really know how to answer that, other than to say that there are some things about our team that we feel really positive about.
Do you think that looking at some of the changes you made on the defensive staff that you're trying to accelerate the development of some of those young players as they are?
Well, we haven't made changes yet. I mean, obviously we've had some terminations, but we've got to hire some people.
Is that what you're
certainly
looking
the
for?
makeup of our roster will help us determine. We're looking for good coaches that have some fresh ideas, and look, we've got some great defensive coaches. Dennis Allen, Aaron Glenn, Peter Genta. We've got some guys on defense that remain with us that have been will do a good job for us. So we're just looking at them.
Are you planning on making any changes to your scouting personnel department?
Well, now's not the time to talk about that, but I'm not planning on it.
Mickey, we get asked a lot about there's no LSU players on this roster. How would you answer that?
Well, look, there's a lot of good LSU players in the league and guys that we have coveted, and yet, it's kind of luck of the draw, in the draft. At the time that we're picking, we don't necessarily have them on our board, or they got taken just before. Well, there's a lot of circumstances that have arisen that causes not to have an LSU player. It's not because we don't think they're good players, that's for sure.
There's a lot of guys this year, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of players. And look, they've had a lot of good players there, and guys that have been very successful in our league, and guys that we liked a lot and had really good grades on. But just the circumstances when I was thinking we only have 7 picks a year. So.
Ed Ogeron was on the staff once.
Yeah.
Has he, can you take advantage of that because of the fact that maybe he gets a little bit more insight on a player?
Well, we have a good relationship with Ed, and look, wherever he's been, he's always been really open with, telling us about players and how he feels about them, and I wouldn't expect anything different. But we have a good relationship with Ed. I just saw him, a week or so ago, and really happy for him and his opportunity to be head coach at LSU.
Compared to standing here at this point last year, and you said you had that breathing room with the cap and having some of those younger players, new coaches coming in. What does it feel like as you head into this evaluation process and as you head toward